Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and we are going to start a new game of Distant Worlds. I mean, what else do I play here really? So this time out we're not going to be doing the bacon mod because I upgraded to Windows 10 and I'm having some problems with the bacon mod as far as tanking my frame rates and cooking one of my cores. So yeah, I don't really enjoy watching my machine struggle too much, so I think we're going to avoid using the bacon mod. However, we will be using some elements of the bacon mod, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a second. So we're going to be playing with Harry 78's Distant Worlds Extended. Basically just additional races. It doesn't really change the vanilla gameplay at all. So we're going to start a new game. And we're going to do the custom game of Standard Empire. But this time, instead of using this area here to set up our galaxy, what I've done is I've enabled the bacon mod and Harry 78's mod within that as well. And I have set up the game with all these parameters, and I've let the galaxy generate, and then as soon as I got in the game I saved off the map. So that allows us to use this section of the setup. And so after I did that, I re-enabled just the vanilla Distant Worlds exe. And now what we're going to do is browse for maps, and we're going to go to map roles. And these are 9 maps that I made using the bacon mod. They all have 2,000 stars in them. So it doesn't matter which one I pick here because I haven't played any of these. I basically just went in the game and saved them off. So these are just basically save games. So I'm going to just turn my head and I'm going to run my mouse up and down, up and down, up and down. And we're going to play role number 2. So we got a map role number 2. So we're going to play that one, so we're going to open that. So we're using this side of the setup here, and I'm going to just click on the regenerates, even though I don't know what's on the map anyways, but I'll just sort of get used to doing that, I think. So we're going to be using a bacon big map, that's kind of hard to say. And we're going to have 2,000 stars, and that's how I'm going to set this up. There is a couple of things we got to watch for. First of all, for some reason, if you try to do that with very hard or hard, it bumps you down to normal difficulty for whatever reason. Extreme seems to stick, so we're going to be running an extreme game. So I have no idea how this is going to work out because we're going to be playing random races, and we'll get into that in just a second. Okay, so now that we got our galaxy set up, let's see what our game's going to be about. We're not going to start in pre-warp because I have so many playthroughs on my channel. We start in pre-warp, and my startup really doesn't change from game to game, so there's no point in putting you through like 4 or 6 episodes of pre-warp stuff again. So we're just going to do a starting expansion in here. Aggression I'm going to leave in the middle of the road because I have no idea what race we're playing, and I have no idea just what kind of diplomacy we're going to need. So I'm just going to leave it sort of middle of the road. And like I mentioned, we're going to be on extreme. And there's going to be a time limit to this game. There's going to be a 50-year time limit to this game, so I don't want to go too expensive, so we're just going to bump it up a notch. And we're going to have many space creatures because they annoy the hell out of me, and, well, why not, right? Can't play Distant Worlds without being annoyed. And pirates are going to have a many and normal. So there'll be a few of them around, but they're going to be kind of nerfed back just because of the setting on the next screen. They're going to be average proximity. So let's go to the next screen here. Again, all this has already been set up in the bacon mod, so it doesn't matter what I do with this stuff here. But I set it up with a rare alien independent life. This is going to give the pirates a lot less people to pick on for financing and stuff. So we're gonna see a lot of the pirates just sort of meh, not doing much, and then we're going to have some that are going to be very, very strong because they actually spawn near an independent. And while we're speaking of independence, the bacon mod rule does actually dictate that the independents will have up to 40 troops on the ground. So they're not going to be the pushovers that we're used to in the vanilla game. So we got to look forward to that. And so if we find one, we want to get it as soon as possible because it does take them a bit of time to build all those troops. So if we can get them early, then we can take them over and have the planet for ourselves. Colony prevalence, I just went middle of the road normal. And influence range for this size of map on the bacon mod was 89%, so we'll go with that. I've increased my colonization range to 1 sector from 0.5 where I usually play it because I found that a lot of the empires that start in the edge get pretty much nerfed and they don't really expand because they just can't. So I've given them a bit more room to come out and get established. And we're not going to play the humans unless we are randomly dealt them. So I don't know who we're going to play, but we'll find that out in a second. And empire name, we'll let the game name us, and if we need to adjust it, we will. Our home system is going to be agreeable. If you start off with excellent, it pretty much starts you with a completely grown-up planet. So we don't really want that. We want the ability to grow a little bit. And once again, tech level is normal. We're not going to do the pre-warp thing. And size is starting, so we'll have one planet, blah, blah, blah. Corruption will be normal, and our government will be random, and probably assigned depending on who we end up playing. Other empires, I have 29 other empires rolled here. So there's going to be 30 of us on this map, plus independence, of course. And if you click this box and get the game to auto-generate them, it will start their home systems on a normal level. So it kind of nerfs the AI back a bit. So that's why I did the whole manual set them up thing, just to give them the agreeable starting system. Okay, next screen is our victory condition, and this is where the magic is going to happen for this game. Shout out to Solaris Ray, another YouTuber who's been playing Distant Worlds. He played a game where he just enabled the race-specific conditions, and it was actually a pretty good game. I enjoyed watching that one. And I've been actually playing my games lately with just this victory condition set. And it really turns everything on its heels as far as how you play the game out. And you really have to watch what the other empires are doing as well. So it's quite an interesting way to play when you're not really worried about this, or trying to be the last man standing or anything like that. Victory threshold is 100%. So if anybody has that by year 30, they're going to win, or we're going to win, whichever way that goes. And as I mentioned, there will be a time limit on the game. So 50 years, so the game will go to 2200, and whoever has the best strategic score at that point will be the winner. We're not going to do the Return of the Shakhtiri storylines, and of course we're not starting pre-warp, so no shadows. I am going to allow tech trading, and I will engage in it, but I have some pretty specific rules about that. First of all, it has to be one of our trading partners, so a free trade agreement or a mutual defense pact, that sort of thing. Secondly, it has to be within 75% of the cost. So if they have, say, 25,000 credits and I have a piece of tech that's worth $1 million, I can't do that trade. I'd have to wait until they get at least 750,000 credits before I'll do that trade, or vice versa. As long as it's within 75% either way, then that's how I'll do the trade. Also, I can only do one trade per game year. So I can't pig out on anything. I can't just go down the list of other empires and just sell them all kinds of stuff and gain all kinds of money. So one trade per year, and that's it. And we're going to allow Kelter the game start. I don't know why that's even a thing. I think that's more for the pre-warp games. But yeah, that's going to be our setup for this game. So I'm going to roll the map and we'll see who we're playing. All right, welcome to our empire, which will be immediately renamed once we get in the game. Yeah, I don't like that. But we are the ruler of the Ikkorus, and our style of government is republic, and we have one colony in one system. Victory condition is achieve 100% of our Ikkuro race-specific conditions, and the game will end at 2200 with the greatest strategic value being the winner, whoever that is, or however we get there. And the victory conditions don't apply for 30 years, so 2180. So whoever has their victory, their race-specific conditions by then will be the winner. Hopefully us, but this is going to be a tough go. We're a standard empire in the classic age, and you can stop the video and read all that if you want, but I think we're all pretty familiar with that screen, so we're going to immediately start playing, and immediately stop playing, because it's the first thing we do in this game is pause. And we're just going to pop in here and make sure I rolled everything right. Yep, 2,000 stars on extreme. All right, so let's have a look at our neighborhood. All right, we're in a decent cluster here, I guess. Hopefully there's no empires like right in here. We might be a bit hosed, but let's see what we got. Okay, so let's have a look at our homeworld that we're going to immediately rename as well. I think I'll rename the system and everything. Let's go to our empire. I'm going to call this the Zuma Empire. And we will name this Zuma Prime. It's a little better than a numbered system for sure. I might actually go and rename the system as well. And that's easy to do with our handy dandy editor. And this will be the Zuma system. All right. Okay. Actually, there's not many planets in here. I might just rename these as well. Just keep things constant here. So that's going to be Zuma 2. And I think we got like one more. It's not much in here, so take a minute to do that. Might as well. At least we didn't start in a system with like 14 planets or anything. All right. So they're nice and tidy. Okay, so let's go back to our homeworld and have a look. Okay, Zuma Prime. We have 30.8 size and 92% quality, which is not too bad at all. And we are the Ikkuro. We'll look at our race in a sec here once we have a quick look at our homeworld. We have Necrostone, we have Emerald Crystal, and Carbon Fiber on our homeworld. Thank God. Last game I tried, there was no carbon fiber anywhere close by, and it was a major problem. So that's nice to see. I'm sure we'll be short on other stuff like helium and all that good stuff. So our development's about halfway grown so far, so we got a bit of growing to do. I'm not going to monkey with the taxes right now. We'll let the development grow up, and then we'll see what we can do with taxing. Our happiness will come up at the same time, as well as our compliance. So we'll just let things slide for now. Our GDP is at 110. And if you go into the editor and look at the other empires, you'll see that they start with 300 to 400 GDP right off the bat. So we have a pretty major disadvantage right off the bat. And we have some troops on the ground. Let's have a quick look at our troops. Ooh, yeah, they're not bad. Not bad at all. And they're cheaper too. Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to garrison those while I'm in here. And let's go have a quick look at a race. Okay, I didn't change the graphics in the help files because you got to recompile all the help files. So I just didn't feel like doing that. But I'm using vanilla graphics in the game, and the help files have Harry 78's replacements. But we'll just go with that. And the Ikkuro are large muscular primates with short brown red fur. We have very large wide-spaced ears that enable them to precisely determine the location of sounds. And I'll just quickly summarize a lot of this here. We tend to be intelligent and aggressive, though cautious. Extremely capable mechanics. Ikkuro can repair nearly any type of machinery. And with our natural mechanical predisposition, we have developed the S2 F7 repair bot. Yes, these guys are nice. Don't have to send stuff out to repair any stations that get like one piece of damage. So that's going to be super nice. And we can put them on our ships too. Yeah. We have a great fascination with trees and plants and extensive knowledge of the various types of flora throughout the galaxy. And we're tree dwellers, and we live on continental planets. We're Eucerdian family type. And we have a reproduction rate of 16%. And we're quite aggressive, cautious, unfriendly, intelligent, and dependable. Just quite right across the board. All right. I can't see these stupid scroll bars in Windows 10. We're master engineers. We have a minus 10% ship maintenance costs. Warrior class, troops 30%. And we're natural merchants. Colony income is 10%. Plus 10%. Magellan's Nut gives us a 10% increase to population growth. Lead is a development bonus by 5%. And Osalia gives us strength bonus to our troops. Plus 5. And we'll look at the victory conditions in a minute. Oh, I still can't see those stupid bars. Okay. We have a 10% reduction of cost for researching any colonization research. And our special technology is the S2 F7 robot. And we also have a faster construction speed of 25%. That's nice. Okay. So that's what a race is about. And just pop into Homeworld here for a sec, have a quick look. And looks like we have a governor. Excellent. We'll have a look at him in a minute. And there we do have some Magellan's Nut, probably not a whole lot. We start with a bit at the beginning of the game, but we'll go through that pretty quick. We do consume luxuries, so they do go down as we play the game. Lead provides our development bonus, and Osalia, the strength for new troops. Okay, we have a high development level and recreation. So we got some medical and recreation components on our spaceport. And if we come into our cargo, we're just going to have a quick look through here. Nothing spectacular. Yeah, helium is always low. It always seems to be the first thing I run out of. So we're going to have to source some of that out if we don't have a source of it already. And there's our Magellan nut there. And what's our construction speed? Oh, okay, we got to let the game tick in a bit before that comes up. But I think it's usually 600, so 25%. I don't know, we're probably somewhere around 750, 800 speed for spaceports. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we got. And I'm just going to sort by strategics. And we got some lead, necrostone, 2 sorts of hydrogen. And no Kevlar. Okay, that's a problem right off the bat. We'll have to make sure that's our first priority. And we have 3 steel. There's our carbon fiber, iridium. Where is helium? No helium yet. So that's a fuel, and helium is going to be the first things we need to source out. And then we'll look at the other stuff as we go. And it doesn't look like we have any luxuries mined. And we have 1 colonizable planet. 29k and 85%. That's not too bad. I'll take it. Okay, so let's have a look at our victory conditions. Hey, look, we're almost there. That's going to change a lot, let me tell you. We have to have the most spaceports in the galaxy, so we want to spam at least small spaceports on everything. Lose the fewest ships and bases in the galaxy, so we want to have good defense for sure. 33% of the continental colonies in the galaxy, so we want to be aggressively expanding. And we have to make free trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and protectorates with 30% of the empires in the galaxy, so that's about 10. We have 30 empires to start anyways. It'll probably grow a little bit with independence becoming full empires. But we'll need at least 10, unless some get wiped out. Some empires might get wiped out too, so that number could fluctuate a bit. And we will go through the rest of the tabs. We'll look at that a bit later. All right, what else should we look at? I'm not going to worry about policies. Everything's on manual play as usual with my play style. And we'll come in and have a look at our leader. We do have a colony governor, I see. Don't know anything about him yet. We have 1 intelligence agent. He's a sabotage guy, so hopefully we can get him a trait that gives him espionage. And here's our leader. Ooh, I don't like thread. I hate thread. Colony corruption reduction, 5%. At least they're on scalable traits. That's good. Colony income is on a scalable trait too. And colony happiness is actually in the plus, so that's pretty good. And we're only growing at 1%. And the AI, I'm pretty sure, is like 3 to 5% growth right now. Unless they adjust things. And population growth plus 10%. Even with the 10%, we're just 1%. So we're going to grow very slowly unless even if I drop the taxes, I think I only get like 2, maybe 3% out of that. So it's not really worth dropping the taxes for. And we're going to rename you to Montezuma, which makes our Zuma naming convention a little more, making a little more sense there. Okay, so that's what our leader's all about, and we'll just pop in here, and we already know a pirate. They say they have 1 ship, they're still building their ships, so that number will probably come up to half a dozen or 8 or something. And that's about all we know about the rest of the galaxy at the moment. And we'll come in here, have a quick look at our government. Yeah, war wariness plus 20%, so we're not going to want to be at war for too long at any given time. Maintenance cost is plus 10%, which is not great, but we'll take it. Oh, yeah, I'll gladly eat that for this. Plus 25% research for sure. And corruption is on a reduction of 15%, and colony income is plus 5. So that sort of evens out what our leader's doing to us. Okay, 4K for troop maintenance. And we have a whopping total of 3 ships. Oh boy. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of damage with that. Okay, let's have a look at some research. What do we start with? Weapon-wise, we have some beam weapons. We have torpedoes. And we are currently researching missiles. Now, on extreme level, especially with a timed game like we're playing, I don't want to be diversifying too much. So I might just go with beams and torpedoes. I might just forget the missiles, at least for now. If maybe we'll pick them up later if I happen to get ahead on some stuff. But I think what we're going to do right off the bat is just enhance our torpedoes and maybe even enhance our beams to get a little bit extra firepower going. And then maybe we'll come down and maybe try some troop stuff after that. Okay, and this is usually the first thing I go for anyways, bigger ships. It looks like they're already enabled, and we already have our repair bots. Yeah, all right. So we can have repair bots on our ships right out the gate. Excellent. I'm going to queue this up. This is the back here. This has the wonder of the back to the shipyard. I'm not going to get it. I know it already. The thing I'm after is the 20% colony development, not so much the faster shipyards, although they are nice. But it's a 20% development I'm after. And chances are another AI is going to get that before we've even done this tech. So, or at least start building it. So yeah, we're probably not going to get that. And maybe after bigger ships will pop up and maybe increase our engines or warp speed or something, shields. We'll figure that out as we go. Right off the bat, we want countermeasures, targeting, and proximity array. Get those three things right there. And I'm going to try to get our Trader's Bazaar. We'll queue that up a bit later, but there's our 20% development bonus again I want. But the colony income bonus there is really powerful. So we're going to maybe shoot for that, but I won't queue it up quite yet. Okay, and our total research potential is 307. And the AI, I'm pretty sure at extreme level, starts at about 500 or 600, somewhere in there. So we're at another disadvantage there. It looks like we have one research center, which I'll probably dismantle right away, because I'll just run with a specialized research lab to give us all three of our research components. Okay, so that's what we got to shoot for there. All right, I'm going to come into ship designs next, and I'm going to go with all designs, and I'm going to go into state ships, and we're going to start. I'm going to eliminate a couple designs right off the bat because we can't build them right away anyways, and I want to redesign pretty much everything. I want to enhance a few things and then trim a bunch of stuff back too, so we're not going through too many of our limited resources right off the bat. So I'm going to get rid of the battleship design, the cruiser design, and I think we're probably going to end up using the rest of this. So I'm only going to eliminate two designs there. Yep. So through the power of editing, you're not going to have to sit and watch me redesign this. I'm probably going to be a good half an hour doing this, but hopefully through editing, I'll be able to trim that down to a few minutes for you guys, and we'll take it from there. But I'll try and show you what the ships are, what we start with. And then I'll come back in a few seconds and show you what we end up with. All right. Okay, and here's our Guardian design. Basically, I took the firepower from 10 up to 30, added more Maxis blasters. I got this set at point blank, so it's going to rush up to everything and try to kill it fast. Added another shield, didn't bother with any more armor. I added a couple of engines, a couple of vector turns. And I didn't monkey with the fuel supply at all. It's still pretty low, but we can go 2.4 sectors with these. So I'm going to leave it at that because we're probably not going to have a whole lot of fuel right at the beginning. And I want to build a few of these. So I'm not going to monkey with the fuel capacity too much. And that's our Guardian. All right, so next up is our frigate. Once again, I'll show you what we start with here. You can pause the video and have a look if you're curious. And I'll be back in a second. And now we have our frigate, the Violator. And I took a couple of Maxis off, added a couple of Epsilon torpedoes, so we have stronger opponents stand off and weaker opponents all weapons. I didn't do anything with the fuel again. I added a couple of engines and a couple of vectors. And I think I took a shield off and a bit of armor off as well. We'll probably be at ship size of 300 soon, so we'll be retrofitting these up anyway. So I just want to get started with some of this. And we will save that off. And up next is our destroyer. And this is what we're starting with. And I'll be back in a second with what we end up with. Okay, so here is our Ranger. We have nothing but torpedoes on this, so we're going to be on a standoff. What else did I do to this? I added more torpedoes. I took a shield off. I adjusted some armor to make space at the end. Didn't bother with the fuel at all. And yeah, I think we're good. So we've been good on energy on all these designs. So let's save that, and we'll go to our troop transport next. And this is what we start with. And I'll be right back with what we end up with. Okay, and here's our dropship. So I took any weapons off. I adjusted the shields and the armor down. Added some engines to make it a little quicker to get to the planet and drop. I gave it a bit extra fuel just in case there's an independent we want to go invade. And that's about all we've done. I think, oh, there's a medical bay on here too, which I've removed. Those are handier later in the game when you're doing a series of invasions. So you drop your troops, invade, pick them up, go to the next planet, drop, invade, pick them up, go to the next planet. In the beginning, I don't find them very handy because the troops generally remain on the ground until you're ready to use them again. So I took that off for now. We'll probably add it on later. And all these designs so far have had the repair bot. I could add an extra one just for redundancy, but for the sake of keeping everything small and watching our resource levels and all that good stuff, I'm going to do that later once we get a little more established. Okay, so it's a 24 cruise, which should be fine to get into a planet and drop. And yeah, so there's a dropship. Next up is the Explorer. And that's what we start with. And we have our Surveyor. I basically took off the energy collector because these things should always be in motion and they have to be stationary to utilize those. So I'm hoping that they'll keep going and not sit around for too long. Generally, they're out and exploring for most of the early game anyway, so we don't really need the energy collector, so we'll save that space. I might put a repair bot on it, though. Or figures. Yeah, let's make it bigger. Is there anything else that can come off? Could pull an engine. Yeah, we'll pull an engine there. And yeah, I'm trying to save resources on these. So that's pretty inexpensive. I want to build a whack of these at the beginning. So yeah, so we have repair bots, so they won't have to run home to repair all the time when they get one damage. So I think that's going to be beneficial to this design. And I think that's about all I did to this. I left the fuel as is, just so we get a bit of range out of these. And yeah, that should be fine. All right, there's our Explorer done. Construction ship, one quick note before we get going. In my pre-warp games, I always put a resource profile sensor on these. In a standard start, not so handy, so I'm not going to bother this time around, but this is what we're starting with. And I'll be right back with what we end up with. Okay, and here's our fabricator. I took the weapon off, added some more engines, a bit more turn rate. I took off some energy collectors. That's not overshooting this by a whole lot, and depending on where this thing will be building will depend on how effective these are. So I was kind of gun shy about doing that, but I decided what the hell. Fuel capacity I left because we'll want to have some range in case we find some debris fields we want to get to. And I increased the armor, and there's already a repair bot on it. And I took some of the cargo off. It had 4,000, so I took some of that off just to trim it back a bit. And we'll probably add it back on later. So I think that should be fine. And one more thing to do with the colony ship. I'm not going to do too much to this other than add an energy collector. Because sometimes I pre-build these and they sit around, so I might as well have some energy collection going on. No repair bot. I guess we could add one, but the thing about these things, they take so long to build, but it's mainly because of this module here, this 300 size module. And if we build it too big, then we have to put 2 of them on, and that will take forever to build one of these. So I want to keep it trimmed back a bit, but I do want to add a bit more engine power to it too. I find 11 to be just a little too slow in approaching, but I think we'll go with that. Yeah, I won't worry about the robot. Hopefully it can get in and get settled before anything attacks it. Okay, so that's I think I'll just call that a colonizer. Get rid of these numbers. I don't like those numbers in the names. Okay, so that's all we're going to do with that. We don't need a whole lot of range on this. I could almost take a fuel cell off because it's only going to do a one-way trip, right? Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Yeah, we'll go with that. That should be fine. And that's all our state ships all done. So I'm just going to put all these on manual retrofit. And we're moving on to our bases. All right, and I'm going to go do all designs. Anything we're not building right away, I'm just going to obsolete, and we'll just build them from scratch as we need them. The energy research station design I'll use to do our initial orbital labs. High tech can go, large spaceport can go, medium spaceport we'll use, small spaceport can go, and the weapons research can go. So that leaves us with 3 designs to go through. Might as well start with the medium spaceport. So we're going to manually upgrade that. And this is everything that's on it right now. If you want to take a quick pause of the video and have a look. And I'll be right back with what we end up with. Okay, welcome to our regional port. I set this to all weapons. And it basically went through, trimmed a bunch of stuff off. This is what we've ended up with. It didn't touch the weaponry at all. I've added 4 more construction yards. I've taken all the labs off. This started with 2 of each plant, manufacturing plants. These guys here started with 2 of each. Basically, the second one might save you a couple of game days when building stuff. Not very useful to have a second one on there. And if we come into our tech tree and we go down to this technology, I'm not sure whether the Steam forum or the Matrix forums I read this on, but somebody field tested all this. And then again, if you're running mods, this might vary, so don't take this set in stone or anything. But if you look at the construction speed of 200 and the capacity of 20,000, it was determined that 10 yards can be supported with 1 set of each of these. And if you go to the next one, you can see that the construction speed increases to 300 and the capacity is 30,000, which is still 10 yards. But you get to this level here, construction speed is still 300, capacity is 45,000, which means that you can support 15 yards with 1 set of these plants. And then I think it's just 15 yards per set all the way out. Yeah, 500 to 75,000, 400 to 60,000. And I haven't really run into any problems going by that. So I'm going to stick with it. So we now have 10 construction yards for 1 set of each plant. And if we want to go to 20, we would add a second plant. Want to go to 30, we'd add a third one, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Okay, energy, I ripped some of that off. We're overshooting a little bit here. We're pretty close to the star, so we should be pretty good. We can observe this later, make sure it's not using fuel, but that should cover it. I ripped back the fuel to 2 cells. We don't, because we're at our colony, we don't need to be stockpiling fuel on the station. We just pull directly from the colony. Same with cargo. I've ripped all the cargo off as well because we'll pull straight from the colony. We don't need to have those here. It's just overhead and cost, and we won't need that right now. So that's kind of where we ended up. It already had 2 repair bots on it, so I just left those. And we'll save that. And if we come down to all designs, and we look at the old design, where is it here? This one here. You can see this one cost us 17,000 to build. This one's only going to cost us 13, which doesn't matter. It's already built, so it's not a big deal there. But I'm looking at the maintenance cost now from 57.79 down to 42.50. Plus, we should be able to reclaim all the materials that we're going to be saving as well. Okay, so let's do our labs next. Don't worry about the initial design because it's going to be completely different by the time I'm done monkeying with this. So I'll be back in a sec with that design. And here is our orbital labs design. No weapons. The enemies will target it last, generally. But I think if we're in the situation where they're pounding away at our spaceport and it's going down, then everything's going down regardless. So, in the beginning, don't really see a huge problem with that anyway. So this is just that initial design. We'll be upgrading to a large space, or not a large spaceport, but a better design as we go. I've gone sort of flat out 120K on each one of the research labs. My potential is 307, so I've gone to 360. So we're just overshooting it a bit, and that'll save us some money. And we'll get rid of that other research station once we get going here. So I think that's pretty good. I ripped any weapons off, no weapons on it, like I said. I added an extra repair bot, added more shielding just because our scientists are going to be stationed here, more armor, and that's kind of all I've done. I put an extra energy collector on because it was right at 72, so I just wanted to overshoot that a little bit. Even though we're right here, we're probably fine. We're right beside the star, but yeah, why not? Because we're only going to build one of these, so it doesn't really matter. It's not going to use a huge amount more resources. Actually, those repair bots are pretty inexpensive. Yeah, five pieces of steel and 2 carbon fibers, so it's not a huge expense. And we do have carbon fiber in stock or being mined, so that's pretty good. Okay, resort base. We're going to be building those as quickly as we can as well. So this is what we're starting with, and I will be back in a sec with what we end up with. And here is our space hotel. I left the weaponry as was. I was kind of happy with what was here. 6 Epsilon torpedoes, 8 Maxis blasters, and it already had 1500 shields and 150 armor on it, so I left that. Added an extra repair bot. I also added a whole bunch more hab modules to bring our boarding defense strength up to 624. Pretty expensive to do, but worth it. When the pirates try raiding you, then you can fight them off pretty good with that number. Later on, we'll get some boarding pods. We'll use those instead. They're a bit more effective and a bit cheaper in energy usage and everything too, I think. I've left quite a bit of energy collection on this, and I've left quite a bit of fuel on this for the simple reason some of these get built in weird places, like at black holes, which don't emit a whole lot of solar. So I've gone that route with that, just to cover any energy usage. And I think I trimmed back the cargo a bit. I think it was way up at 4,000 or something, and we don't need that much. We only need enough to handle retrofit. There's also a medical center on here, which I pulled off. I don't think there's much need to have that on there either. And I think that was it. Okay, so there's our space hotel done. And we'll put all these on manual, and we'll go... private ships, I'm leaving for now. We'll retrofit them once we get bigger ships, and I'm not going to bother monkeying with them right now. They're fine the way they are for now. And we're going to do some mining stations. All right, so let's manually upgrade this, and this is what we're starting with on those. I'm probably going to match something like the space hotel as far as weaponry and defense and everything goes. So I'll be back shortly with that. Okay, this is our fuel extractor design. Now I'm separating out my mining station designs. I'm going to use like 3 different gas extractor designs and then 2 different miner designs. So this is going to be the fuel extractor. I've taken the luxury extractor off. We don't need that on every one of these. So I've left with 40 gas. That's our mining rate for this. So 40 gas. I think that's the number. I've been through so many mods, I'm pretty sure that's the number that we were shooting for. Mods, like again, if you're running mods, this number might vary, so just keep that in mind. Left the 10,000 cargo capacity. I've added a bunch of bays to bring us up to 10, so we can refuel 10 ships at once. Increased all the weaponry to give us 106 firepower. I brought our boarding defense strength up to 624. Shields are at 1500. Armor is at 200. So I want some good defense on these because they get hit quite often. And I think that should do it. Fuel capacity. Yeah. So as long as our energy collection is working good, we shouldn't have to worry too much about fuel capacity. And that is our fuel extractor design. And like I said, I am going to just copy as new, and we are going to use the same design, but this one is going to be a gas extractor. And the only difference with this one is it's going to have a little less cargo. This will widen out as we play the game, but I'm just going to bring that back to about 6,000. And from what I understand, read this years ago, so something might have changed, I don't know, but if this cargo gets full, it's going to spawn the AI to bring freighters over to empty it out. So if we put a huge cargo, like 60,000 on it, then it might not spawn the AI to come and get the stuff, unless it's in demand, of course. But it might just let the cargo just sit there, and then you might lose it all if you get attacked by pirates or whatever. So I think bringing it back down is a good thing. Docking bays, I'm not going to go with so many. I'm going to maybe do 3 or 4. maybe in the interest of saving some resources, we'll go with 3 for now. We'll increase that as we go. So that's just the basic gas extractor now. And that design is pretty much done. And one more time, we're going to copy as new. And we are going to call this a lux extractor. So we're going to put the luxury extractor back on the design. And basically, this will only be built on ice planets where luxuries exist. Luxuries don't exist on any other type of gas planet. So it's going to be a nice ice design, I guess you could say. Yeah, and everything else should be fine. So we're going to save that off. And the mining station I'm going to obsolete. And I'm just going to maybe grab this design, go copy as new. And we're just going to rename this to a orbital miner. Okay, so of course we're going to change the designation to a mining station now, and we're going to pull the gas extractors off, and we are going to add the mining engines. And I believe 9 is the number we're shooting for here. And that should be a finished design. Looks good. Okay, so that's done. And we'll copy this one as new again. And the only difference with this one is we're going to put a luxury extractor on it. And that is pretty much all we're doing with that. So we'll take the Mark II out, and we'll call this an orbital lux miner. Okay, we'll save that off. And make that manual, and that should be everything done. And that's all the designs we need to get going. Okay, so we have to retrofit some stuff, but before we do that, I'm going to take a save game right here, and I'm going to probably upload it somewhere and share it. So if you want to play a 2,000 star map with on Extreme, of course, then you can download it and play along. You'll end up with a completely different game than what I'm playing because of RNG, of course. But yeah, so I'm going to save this as the Zuma Empire. And I'm going to just call it a TurnZero. Okay. As you can tell, I've tried a couple different startups here on these, and nothing's really worked too well. So hopefully this game will come out a little better than those. So yeah, I'll upload this somewhere, and you guys can play along if you want. Okay, well, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed episode 1, and we will be back in a couple days with episode 2. Because I'm doing editing on these, I'm not going to be publishing every day because it does take a bit of time to go through and edit all this. So expect at least 2 or 3 episodes a week. Nothing very steady, but should be consistent if nothing else. And yeah, that's the end of chapter 1, and I hope to see you again for chapter 2. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.